Yo, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to episode 56 of the Casual Weebs podcast. It was an interesting week for sure. I mean, first of all, Sakamoto Days didn't happen this week. It's done until what, June, July area? That kind of like time frame.
Yeah.
But then we had last episode of Blue Box and Solo Leveling. Both have a ton to talk about with both of them, especially Blue Box. I might have thought there was going to be a confession and then kind of hyped this up, all season that, oh yeah, it totally ends with a confession, and like, it totally did not end with a confession at all.
Nah, dude, I was like so disappointed. I wanted at least some like progress. I mean, I guess them hanging out, but it's like they're both like doing something they want to do like casually. It's not like a date or very intimate, you know what I mean? I guess spending time with each other is,
It,
enough, but I was like really disappointed there wasn't like significant progress in the last episode.
dude, yeah, it's insane. I thought there was. That's why I was like hyping it up for like the past several episodes, and like
I was with you, bro. That was the momentum. You know what I mean? 2 episodes ago, we got the he turns Hina down. It's like, all right, we're cooking here.
Yeah. No, the season just ends with Tina's absolute heartbreak. But yo, I got TikTok, which by the way is a disaster. If you guys, the link in the description, you can go follow if you want. We are just dropping the shorts we usually post on YouTube, also on TikTok. It's the same goddamn thing. But I've been getting the fucking tea on TikTok, bro. I've been fucking getting the gossip. I've been seeing the beef. The solo leveling community is shambles. It really is.
Oh shit, for
It
real.
is just like there is just complete civil war. They do nothing but fight each other and then fight everyone. They can't be like they're all over the place. So first of all, I see people both fighting whether the anime is better or the manga is better. A ton of people say that the new direction that the anime is going in is so much better than the manhwa, and it is like a lot different. Like I know a bunch of like spoilers. I don't think they're actually gonna happen because a lot has changed between the anime and the manhwa. Then people are arguing about like, oh yeah, you have the other side. People are saying the manhwa was better, but then you have people even arguing, is it even based off the manhwa? People are like, no, it's based off the light novels. And then other people are like, no, those people are fucking stupid. It's the manhwa, and like they can't even decide what it's based off of. So like they are just in complete disarray. They are just absolutely fighting. It's an absolute mess. It's chaos. I don't know what's going on. I didn't think it was like all that, but apparently, yeah, it's like in shambles. Also on TikTok, we started to get a little drama, a little beef going into this season, this new upcoming current spring season. What is it? The beginning after the end, that manhwa that's getting an anime. It's supposed to be like a really good and popular manhwa. I'm being told not to watch it. They ended up
Why?
dropping.
Why?
They ended up dropping the opening and the ending, right? Like showing the animation scenes, and people were like, "These are the worst openings and endings they have ever seen." They're like, "The animation is so poor on them." Then the episode dropped. It's out already. It's supposed to come out April 2nd for Crunchyroll, and I think for most people, but I think it got leaked or something happened, and it's out. And people are saying it is the worst thing ever. Well, the manhwa readers are saying that it is god awful. Literally, someone on the server, by the way, guys, there's plenty of links in the description, not just the TikTok. On the Discord server, we're talking about anime, and someone posted, screenshots saying, "Oh my god, the episode finally dropped," and my other buddy was like, "Yeah, don't watch it. Trust me, you'll be disappointed." And he's like, I should have trusted you. You were spot on. What the fuck was that? Because both of them have read the manga or are caught up with it and absolutely love it, and both of them absolutely despise the anime. So ton of beef with that. People are saying that people are very upset, and we dropped the video, guys, about a preview into the spring anime season, and we're like, oh, this is like a staple. This is a massive premiere. It could be something that goes on for multiple years, something we look forward to constantly. Like, this is a huge premiere. And we're like, the only thing that can kind of fuck it up is the animation. And it seems like the animation absolutely botched it. So, yeah. Who knew TikTok had so much goddamn drama on it, bro? It's insane.
TikTok is where it's at these days. I just like kind of casually watched the opening. I won't say the animation looks great or is like
Yeah.
blows you away. I don't know. I would have to watch it. It wouldn't be enough to like turn me away just because I'm like not that particular about it. But I guess on the subject of um, like anime and manga or manhwa, like the adaptations,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's a lot that goes into it because like pacing, like we kind of talked about in some of our manga videos, pacing is a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like you look at a series like Goku Rakugai, which is like monthly, and even that's kind of
Incredible.
inconsistent. Yeah, subtle drop
Incredible.
there. Very
Yeah.
good. But like there's you have a whole month to work on that versus something, like Kagurabachi, another like pretty relevant
Yeah.
manga. That comes out weekly, but then you'll have people complaining that they reuse like images, like the main villain, they just like invert the way he's standing and use the same image. It's like it's just for efficiency. It's not like a bad image. Like stuff like that doesn't really matter to me. It doesn't detract from the art, but
Yeah.
like people will complain about that. And it's like, brother, you're getting this every Sunday. You know what I mean? 40 some chapters a year pretty much. Like for me it's like you gotta take what you can get. And like like even looking at Bleach, you could
Hmm.
go like so deep into this shit, but like Bleach, the OG series is like really drawn out, like the
Hmm.
arcs are longer. And then you look at Thousand Year Blood War, way better animation, but the pacing is lightning fast, good or
Oh my
bad, however you
god,
feel
yeah.
about that. But
Very
like
good,
I
very
don't know,
good.
there
Does your Blood Wars
I love it.
awesome so far. I'm freaking the fuck out, yeah.
I agree, and I think the pacing fits Bleach better, especially with
Hmm.
the scale of how many characters you have.
Yeah.
But not to get too off topic, like I could see how you feel one way or another. Like you were really into the Thousand Year Blood War manga or Solo Leveling, and they skipped some scenes in the manhwa or whatever. Like I could get how you would be like, maybe it's like moving a little too quick. But I think time constraints and obviously budget. Not everything is as big as Solo Leveling and stuff like that. So I don't know. I would definitely give it a chance. I could see what you mean. The animation was not striking, but like I
Well,
try to be like, what's the word for it? You know what I mean? I won't be too hard on something until I've seen a few episodes.
unbiased. You're just kind of like on the
Thank you.
sidelines, kind of waiting. Like here's like my hot take on everything, kind of anime wise. When I first came into it, I watched dubbed. Everyone freaked the fuck out. I'm like, no, subs better. Dub's absolute dog shit. One of the things I absolutely hated, the only things that annoyed the hell out of me with the Crunchyroll comment section, is when the dub would drop. 3 weeks later, people would spam the comments about how the subs is so much better, and it's like that makes no sense. Like, how are you so mentally deranged that you're going back, just to comment that? Like, just continue watching the sub. Like, who gives a shit? If someone want to watch a dub, let them watch a dub. You want to watch a sub, watch a sub. I watch both, and honestly, I feel like there's benefits to both of them, and that both are solid. Are some animes better subbed? Absolutely. But who gives a fuck? You don't have to spam a comment section. I think that is so unbelievably stupid, and that kind of translates to between anime and manga as well. Because now I'm getting into manga and manhwa, and I'm reading all this stuff, and I'm like, "Yo, boys, like you're on to something. Like it is very, very good. I am absolutely loving it. I am binging it. The manhwa, the art is." Even with manga, it's all so phenomenal. Like the artwork's great, the stories are great, the pacing. Just I so much enjoy reading it. It has impressed me. I'm getting to experience all these new stories. You know what I mean? That like Gokuraku guy, which is like one of my favorite things all time now. You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff is sick. But I think that like the same thing with the dubs and subs is that like people who read manga are so hard on anime and are so forgiving with manga. You know what I mean? Like manga isn't perfect. It has like different standards. It's like a different thing. You know what I mean? And then when you look at the anime, I feel like people get like so upset by it, and it's like dude, like well, like there's like way more time constraints sometimes on certain animes, which kind of force that. You know what I mean? Like there's a whole lot more that goes into it. And that's why I feel like the thing is that like I can see it, right? I'm with you. Like I get it. I can see where people are coming from, but it's like I feel like there's some panels I've seen like in manga that are dog shit, but it's like no one's gonna say anything about it, right? But that one scene in anime that's like PNG, oh boys, we gotta go to every media platform and we gotta just trash on it. The whole episode's fucking dog. You know what I mean? Like the thing that I'm looking at it from is that like I'm gonna watch the first 3 episodes, right? And I'm gonna see, do I like the story and is the animation that bad? If the animation's that bad, but the story is good, I'm just gonna stop. I read the manhwa. It's plain and simple. If you guys are saying the manhwa is way better, I totally fucking believe you. I'm just gonna go watch the better source of the content. You know what I mean? That just makes more sense. But if the animation's really not that bad, fuck it, why not? Just keep watching it. You know what I mean? So like, I really don't think that like I can see why people are hard on it, but like at the same time too, I also feel like we don't like understand the industry because like what goes into the process of like getting that work contracted out. Like, are the artists involved in the animes? That's something we've always wondered. Because like, how do you sit there and fuck up an anime? You know what I mean? Is like the artist just not there? Kind of like, hey, like don't cut this part out or don't rush this. You know what I mean? But like that happens a lot with like A Promise Neverland. Tokyo Ghoul. There's so many animes that botched it. So it's like how did that come to be? How did that exactly get messed up? But I don't know. When it comes to the day after the end, right? The beginning after the end. Jeez, I'm great with the names. All right, shut up. You know what I mean? I'm gonna try it out. We're gonna see how bad it really is, and if it is really that bad, just read the manhwa, and if it's not, just I guess continue watching it. But yeah, hot drama before the episode even dropped. Like holy shit.
Hey, maybe the publicity will be a good thing, and it'll turn out we all end up watching it anyway.
I mean, like I said, like the good thing is too is that you always can go and read it. Like Sakamoto Days, after that second part of the first season, like the second season drops, I'm reading the manga because I've even seen the panels. Yeah, the manga is so much better. You know what I mean? I just like,
True
I guess the
that.
point where I'm trying to see is too is I don't feel the need to just absolutely freak out over it. You know what I mean? Like if the dub's that bad, well, I'm just gonna go watch the sub. I don't need to say anything about it. You know what I mean? Same thing with like with the animation. So I feel like I can't wait to see it. That's what I'm gonna say. That's what I'm gonna say. I can't wait to see it because I want to see if it's justified or not. Because with Sakamoto Days, it was justified. I'll say that. Like there's times where I think people bash the anime and it's like, dude, like it's actually pretty solid. And there's other times where I'm like, oh, like you're right. Like that scene is so much better in the manga. I mean, I'm even seeing panels of the manhwa compared to Solo Leveling, and Solo Leveling was done a little dirty as well. The manhwa is insane. There's a couple panels where it's like, oh, and then it seems like a little like rushed in the anime. Again, we don't know the scheduling and stuff, but it is insane. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think it'll be sick. I'll definitely be there for the first few episodes. I'm sure it'll be good. I'm not like a huge critic. I think
Yeah.
some of that stuff gets like blown out of proportion, and I guess one thing for me, like when I read manga, like Kagurabachi, for example, you've got
Mm-hmm.
like what 50, 60, 70 chapters somewhere in there.
Yeah.
60, 70, I think. By this point you know all the characters. Like I don't know, it's different when you read it and you have to internalize what you're looking at versus like just staring, and this is a weird way to put it, but just staring at your screen and being told the story through like animation. I
Yeah.
think they're two different things, and like I don't know, I mean the two manga that I like caught on in the beginning are the ones that I like the most with Jujutsu Kaisen and Kagurabachi. Like seeing an artist change for better or for worse. Like there was definitely some
Yeah.
rush stuff in Jujutsu Kaisen, but like you can kind of see how the artist evolves and stuff. Like it's a way different experience. So like I could definitely see how you get more attached to one format, and it maybe makes the anime harder to enjoy, but I think beginning after the end is sick. And like I'm sure there's a lot of really good like slept on manhwa. You know how many good mangas there are. So like I would even watch it just to like keep other manhwas like getting produced and like animated and stuff, because the more the merrier. If there's more content out
Yeah.
there, that's more for us to pick at.
And it's literally the same. It's like, what's better, the book or the movie? You know what I mean? Like at the end of the
Ooh,
day, they're
nice.
two different sources of content. You should treat them as two different experiences instead of trying to like group them into one. So I'm really excited for the most part too to be able to experience that for the first time because I'm reading a bunch of mangas now that aren't animated yet, but they are about to be. You know what I mean? So when Kagurabachi comes out, I'm so interested to see what my reaction is going to be. But so far I've been from the anime only POV. Even when I'm looking at, the manga, I'm looking at the manga second like after, you know what I mean? It's before after
Right.
I watch it. So I'm really excited to kind of see it now from the point of view of everybody else and kind of see if I like because I might change my mind. I read Kagurabachi, absolutely love it, caught up with it, can't get enough of it. It's great. It couldn't get animated, and then I can sit here and be like, yeah, dude, animation fucking blows. Don't watch it.
Yeah.
Fucking Garbo. You know what I mean? So, like, for me, like, I think that's gonna be, like, a really cool thing, like, pretty soon, is to get that manga to anime perspective. And who knows, I could absolutely side with everybody, eat my words all the goddamn time. I say wrong shit almost instinctively. You know what I mean? It's just immediate.
Yeah.
Um, so that's what I'm really, really excited about. And I don't know. Like you said, it's gonna be cool that they are coming out with more and more manhwas because manhwa it has like something special about it. Everything is special in its own way, and manhwa definitely brings a lot to the table. So to see more of them get animated is gonna be like really cool. It just sucks that you have another one of those big three manhwas that just does not have that good start. You know what I mean? But there's always redemption as well. I mean, it could come back. If animation is the only problem, we've seen animes up their animation as they go on. You know what I mean? So that's a problem that can
Very
be
true.
fixed. So
Yeah, plus it's in color too. It's not
mhm.
like a lot of those manhwas. I don't know. It hits different because you have all color. Like I'm sure it would be really sick.
Yo, like that is gonna be this thing. Like it's gonna be one thing when I start reading. I'm reading mangas, and when they get animated, I'm gonna have that new perspective of kind of like reaction to it. it's gonna be insane when an epicenter reader's viewpoint gets animated, because the artwork in that manhwa is disgusting. It is so fucking gorgeous. Like, it's insane. Like, it really is. I sent you a couple of the pictures of it. Like, I was like, holy! And this is every panel. This is every page. This is every chapter. It's like,
Yeah,
how? I if you read manhwa, I can definitely see how you'd get upset by animation. Manga, it's a little different, but manhwa, since it's so detailed and like colored in and everything, like I can see that point of view. But like, yeah, that's gonna be absolutely insane. It's gonna be awesome to see. But anyways, let's get into the last two shows of this season, of the winter season,
hey,
boys. You know what I mean?
just like that, dude.
Solo
It's over.
leveling and Blue Box. I know, dude. It sucks. It's just like, but there's a lot. There's a lot of good stuff. You know, I enjoyed the winter season. I thought it was great. You know, we have a spring season coming out. We made a video talking about all of them. That's gonna be fun. But the summer season is gonna be fucking broken. I cannot wait for the summer goddamn season, boys. We are gonna be so busy. But what do you want to start with? Blue Box or soccer? I mean, Blue Box or Solo leveling?
I'll get into Blue Box because I feel like I got more to say about that.
Yeah, dude,
So, like,
we fucked up. We fucked up because I feel like it wouldn't have been as bad if we didn't sit there the whole time. Like, yeah, confessions inbound, boys. Like, it's coming. You know what I mean? We let ourselves down.
I was so convinced, dude. Like
Mm-hmm.
everything, like I had said earlier, 2 episodes ago, like we got, Hina getting let down and Taiki like standing firm, like kind
Yeah.
of confirming his feelings. It's like, all right, we're moving in the right direction. Like I had no reason. I feel like we had no reason to believe like that wasn't what we were getting to. And
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it was a bad episode. I thought it was great all
Oh
season.
my
I
god,
really
yeah.
enjoyed it, but it did feel like we were left a little short. And like, there's a lot, not necessarily a cliffhanger, but there's like a lot left to explore. Like, I need another episode or two to like really close out that season.
You know what I think it was? I feel like they should have ended the season sooner. Because I feel like since you end it after Hina gets rejected, it feels like we had two seasons of build up, or two parts, you know, extended season, building up to Hina's just heartbreak. And that's it. You
Yes.
know what I mean? Because like the past 3 episodes, 2 episodes, she's just been like depressed. You know what I mean? And it's just been like, oh shit. I feel like it would have been way better if it left us on a cliffhanger of Taiki giving Hina his answer. You know what I mean? Someone would been like, holy shit, you know, the next season's got to drop now. What's going to happen? Start the season off with the heartbreak and then the recovery and build up towards Chinatsu. And then that would have been solid. But the fact that you stopped it right after the heartbreak, it feels like we had all this build up, 24 episodes, just for Hina's heart to get shattered. And then he's like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna ask, you know, Chanatsu on a date, which, by the way, technically really isn't a date. He kind of just asked if she wants to go shopping. Like, it's just friends hanging out. Like, that's all it fucking was, Taiki. So, like, it really was just a build up to Taiki finally asking the person he lives with if they want to hang out and just breaking Hina's heart. So, weird.
Yeah, and like everything I've kind of read is like the manga really starts taking off, like the
Mhm.
relationships start forming. Again, I haven't read it, so I don't know, but like you could definitely tell there was like there's like a few moments in the last 2 or 3 episodes between Kyo and Ayame. Him kind of like telling her she doesn't really know shit, like she's talking from a place she's pretty
Just bad
inexperienced in, and
funny.
like yeah, dude, so good. But this episode like really confirmed it, and like you could tell Ayame felt not only self-conscious, but she was kind of blaming herself, which wasn't really her fault. It was going to happen anyway. But she
Hmm.
feels like somewhat guilty about how Hina gets rejected, and how hurt and upset she is. So I think she kind of like felt humbled. But like, there's another conversation with Kyo and Ayame, and it was like they're kind of starting to like either get closer or
Yeah, what's with that?
maybe yeah, or like is Ayame becoming part of the group? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like he kind of does say that. So like I don't know. I feel like it did kind of leave off in a weird spot.
Yeah.
We definitely got season 2. That's confirmed.
Yeah.
But um, yeah, it was. I don't want to say I'm like not a fan of the ending, but I feel like you explained it perfectly. It really felt like a 25 or 6 episode culmination of just Hina getting rejected by the main character, her crush. Like kind of felt bad, but
Yeah.
I think maybe more of it was the lack of a date. And yeah, I'm just like, bro, he asked her to like, hey, come with me so I can buy a new tracksuit. Not like, hey, there's this restaurant I want to try, or like,
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about it, I think, last week. We're like, yeah, Taiki is not suave. My guy
Yeah,
is a
no.
little stiff. But like, yeah, this is the perfect example of it. He like totally panics in the moment. I mean, even Chinatsu was like, oh, there's a cafe I'd like to try, but It does not feel like a date in any capacity.
All right. Two things, right? Two things. First of all, Ayame low-key pissed me off this episode. Like low-key, because right, she feels guilty, she feels upset, like she feels like just so bad, and like you feel for her. It's like it wasn't her fault. She just kind of expedited things and kind of butt her head in when she had no right to. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, dude, you gotta just mind your own business there.
She was a good plot device, very good
Yeah,
plot device to like speed that up.
and she was like excited, you know what I mean? She just wanted someone who she thought could not get rejected, you know, to find love. And she was like, oh my god, this would be amazing. And it just did not work out at all, you know. And like Kyo said, like she has no idea what she's talking about. The thing that annoyed me though is that she realized it but didn't learn from it. Because of what does she do? She butts her fucking head in again and fucking gives Taiki all this shit that's so not deserved. And then she realizes, like, oh wait, he's upset too. It's like, no fucking shit. What do you mean? And you're fucking just ripping him a new one for what? You know what I mean? And like, then that's when you have like the second, you know, encounter between Kyo and Ayame, which was just so goddamn funny. Because I love how like she's like Loki coming at Kyo. She like called him condescending. She flipped him off. Like she like kind of wants to throw hands with him. But that's where she kind of sits there and she's like, what, you think I'm butting my head in again? He's like, oh, like, no shit. Like, are
Yeah.
you fucking kidding me? You can't help yourself. So I think that those two are really, really funny. And I wonder, like, what's going to happen between them. I feel like that they're either going to become, like, really good friends or something.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how like their relationship develops because it
Mm,
feels like there's a good bit of focus on almost all the characters we met.
yeah.
You know, besides just Taiki and Shinatsu, you know, you have Kyo and maybe Ayame, whether it's romantic or not. You have
Hmm.
Karen and
Haru.
Haru. Yeah, I know. I'm like trying to remember all the names, but like there's a lot of like different relationships. So I would
Hmm.
imagine whether it's you know just platonic or romantic is to be seen, but I think they would explore it just because I don't know, between the last two or three episodes, they've had a few moments, and I think it's good for Aime because like she does kind of make a lot of this about herself, even though it has nothing to do with her. She's just super nosy and like,
Hmm.
you know, Taiki and Hina, and to her credit, she's friends with Hina. She's not friends with Shinatsu, so like she's just rooting for her friend to like get the guy she likes. It's like
Whoa, what do you
a
mean
little
she's
more,
not friends with Chinatsu? She definitely is. Did you
but not
forget the
like
whole
not as
beginning part?
but not like the same. You know what I mean? Like at school and everything, I feel like she's closer with Hina, or like maybe you could say like their circles aren't necessarily the same, but like I
Okay.
she knows her through her sister. I wouldn't say that they're like close friends.
Okay.
But you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
well, I guess where I'm coming from is she just wanted to see her friend Hina win. Not necessarily that like she doesn't like Chinatsu, but
Yeah.
she also thought it was like a shoo-in. Yeah, she can't get rejected. She's pretty, she's popular. Her dad's obviously rich. Like, you know, who wouldn't want to be with Hina? And like she is kind of surprised that she was definitely about to rip into Taiki, but seeing Taiki, which like is his ultimate redeeming quality. Like he's a very honest man, very Abe Lincoln like. You know what I mean? He's like obviously it hurts too, and like you know it would be. I think he says it like it would be presumptuous of me to assume that we could just go back to being friends because she's
Yeah.
obviously hurting. And then like two scenes later, she's like, it's suffocating to be in the gym with Taiki and Chinatsu here.
It's just
Which
thinking
I'm like,
what, like the
damn.
bunny helmet? Like,
Yeah, just like literally laying on the floor. It was like, ah, feels bad, man. It was definitely like a big come down like these last two episodes, but it was good
yeah.
and hopefully Hina starts to bounce back because it definitely sucks. She was like a really great bright spot in the main cast.
Yeah, I think that she will, which is gonna be nice. But Haru also came in clutch this episode. Was pulled a
Yeah,
Kyo this episode. You know what I mean? Because he sat there and he's like, "Yo, want to play a game?" And I feel like he did that because one, he had the whole speech where he's like, "Yeah, I can't be a pussy and just keep running away from you." You know what I mean? I gotta go and I gotta play you. But I think he noticed that Taiki, something was up with Taiki. Oh my god, I remember it now. Okay, guys, so like we watch these episodes degenerate when they drop, right? But we obviously don't record this video when they drop, so you forget some stuff, so you write down some notes. Okay, so first of all, I remember what my one note is now. Holy shit, it connected. Okay, first of all, he pulled the Kyo because he's like, I feel like he could see that Taiki was down, and he was like, "Yo, let's cheer him up. Like, that game you've been asking for? Let's play it." You know what I mean? Which is really cool. Taiki got smoked. That's gonna be something interesting because he beat what's his face?
Yusa.
Yusa, there we go. But like, could that have been kind of like a fluke? Who knows? These games can really go either way. Also Haru is getting stronger, so obviously, there can still be that gap. But I mean, I feel like what Haru kind of told him as well at the end of it Taiki needs to like really internalize and realize is that like Taiki doesn't play to win. He plays to not lose. You know what I mean? And I feel like
Hmm.
that is going to be the switch that we're finally seeing him flip as we go into this next arc, this next part of the show, because he is kind of doing stuff to protect his relationship with Hina and with Chinatsu, which is why he didn't let Hina down and why he doesn't try to make things uncomfortable. Like, I'm not saying you should make things uncomfortable, but like he's always, in that protect mode. Like, oh, I don't want to do this because I don't want to like make her uncomfortable, but she's living in my house. You know what I mean? He's trying to protect the friendship. So now we're seeing him flip that switch where now he told Hina, like his answer, and then that's in the air now of like they're going to be friends. What's going to happen with that? And now he's like getting a bit more aggressive, if you want to say, where he's like asking Chinatsu out on like dates or to go hang out or to initiate conversations with her more. So hopefully we'll see that in his like badminton, where he's like going for the win. He's getting aggressive. He's making them react to him because I feel like that's what Taiki needs to do to really succeed in whatever he wants is to then play to win, don't play to not lose. So that is gonna be amazing. But the fucking note I have, it just says Haru plus Kyo. That's all I wrote. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? And I was like, before I was like, dude, like, what? Do they like interact? And you're like, no, they
Oh, I
did.
don't think so.
They absolutely did. What it was is that Taiki was in the locker room at the end of the day, and he's like, "All right, yo, boys, actually got a dip." And they're like, "Haru's like, what? You got like a date or
Oh
something?"
yeah,
And they're
yeah.
like, "No, Shiny's got a date." And he was like, "Yeah, just kidding. No, no way, you got a date." He's like, "All right, guys, later." And then Kyo kind of gives a look, and Haru sees it. He's like, "Hey, yo, he actually got a date?" And he's like, "Well, he didn't tell me directly." He's like, "Oh, it's with you know who?" He's like, "I have to assume so." He's like, "I didn't think he'd do it. Good for dude." That fucking little connection between Haru and Kyo was golden. It was so good because it kind of showed a little bit of friendship and a little like team camaraderie between them. You know what I mean? Where it was just like a little connection. They're kind of giving each other like glances. They weren't like saying it, but they were saying it. You know what I mean? And they got it. And I'm like, dude, that interaction was fucking golden. It had me dying, and I was like, I had to write that down. Because that's probably my favorite little scene in that entire episode. It was so good.
Great bro code, dude. That was awesome. I
Yeah,
can't believe I forgot about that. You're
dude,
right
it's
though.
so
It's tough for
little.
those
It's like it's easy to forget.
those Thursday animes. It's easy to like lose scenes. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? When you're waiting a couple days.
Yeah.
But Haru's part was really good. I think it was like a really good summary of like some of the themes that we learned about like the main cast. Like Taiki, he's like pretty talented. He's come a long way. He's obviously doing like great socially. He's got friends. He's got like popular chicks that like him.
He's
All
ripped
this stuff.
now.
Yeah,
We
my
forgot
boy got
about that.
fucking
Yeah, he's
he got
fucking
toned.
jacked.
Boy got toned. Got the MC treatment. Yeah, even that, like everything has kind of gotten better for Taiki, but he still lacks that confidence.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of like Megumi from Jujutsu Kaisen. Like Gojo tells him like you have to be more
Yo.
aggressive, you have to
Mhm.
be more selfish. And like I feel like it's indirect, but that's kind of like what Taiki was doing. Like, all right, he can kind of like, he let Hina down, he rejected her. Now he can like pursue Chinatsu and not like feel bad that he's leaving somebody hanging or whatever.
Mhm.
Like I think he's coming a long way. Obviously lost to Haru, but like you could tell by the scenes that he was pushing him. You know what I mean? Haru was sweating and it wasn't that easy.
Mhm.
I think you said it perfectly. He plays not to lose rather than, being aggressive and giving it his all to try and win. And there's a very big difference in that. Like playing to get on the podium, whether it's 2 or 3 versus like playing for the top spot.
Yeah.
And I don't think Taiki has quite crossed that hump. I would assume like, if we're just going by basic tropes, like, he'll get with Chinatsu, they start dating, he starts flourishing and becoming more confident because he's got, the hot girlfriend that he always wanted. Maybe it goes that way, but like I would like to see him keep growing, especially with badminton, because like in the one episode where he plays Yusa, that was like a huge part for him. Like he didn't want to lose. Like it was really the only time we saw him get like super aggressive
And play to
on the
win.
court.
And he
Yeah,
won.
on and off the court. Like
Yeah.
I mean, not that he was aggressive with Hina. He just like it basically came to a head. He had to like reject her at some point.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, he still hasn't really gone out and done it. Like he still kind of fumbles the whole like date, if you could call
Mhm.
it that. Like he's like, oh, we went to the aquarium. Like this is too formal. That's too boring. So like I don't know. It'll be cool to keep seeing in season 2 like their progression.
It's funny because like you brought up JJK and JJK's analogy, like in that moment when Gojo was talking to Megumi, was the perfect way to sum it up. He's like, dude, you're playing to get on base, right? You're playing just to, like hit it, get on base, play for the team. He's like, dude, Yuji's trying to smoke that thing out of here. You know what I mean? He's going for the win. He's going for the home run. He's going for the all or nothing. He's like, that's what you got to do if you want to win. You know what I mean? Like, you can play for the team all you want, but he's like, when we're out there and like we're like against enemies, it's life or death. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, people are gonna play for them, and it's kind of the same thing when you look at Taiki. Because like, all right, if you play that way, like, yeah, you're being nice. Like, you can see where he's coming from, right? Oh, I don't want to make it uncomfortable. If she lives with us, all these unknowns and uncertainties. But like at the same time, what happens when someone else comes in the picture? What happens when someone else like is like, hey, like, let me shoot my shot and see what happens. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden it's like, oh well, bad timing. It's like, what do you mean bad timing? You waited too long. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
no one else is gonna sit there and wait and be like, all right, let's hold off. We're in the same class. Maybe that's gonna be weird if I ask her out and then we have to be in class the rest of the year. Like, they're not gonna give a fuck. They're like, all right, let's shoot our shot, see what happens. You know what I mean? So it's like the same way. Like a Gojo, fucking of all people, said it perfectly with that analogy.
That's so funny. That's like the only time he's like mature and gives like actual decent advice in the whole show. I never really thought of it like that, but you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, overall I think it was an awesome season. Like it was really long. Like it's easy to get attached when you got 20 some episodes. Like I
Mm-hmm.
thought it was awesome. I'll definitely be there for season 2. I might
Absolutely.
even dive into the manga just to kind of see, the differences and what the art's like and stuff. And just overall it's like a really great story and I think they did a really 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 good job of giving us great characters, not just Taiki and Chinatsu and like focusing on that relationship. Like the whole like cast and school thing. I think they did a perfect job of.
Dude, I agree. And like, they announced, they confirmed the next season. Did they say when it was gonna be?
I don't think so.
Because if it's not gonna be for a while, or we don't know when it's gonna be, I might just jump right into the manga. Because I agree. I think that this season was awesome. I feel like the ending of it wasn't bad. It was just in a weird spot. You know what I mean? I think that was just like an awkward spot to end it, but low key kind of funny. You know what I mean? So I feel like they wanted the next season just to start off fresh. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think they wanted it to start off like, hey, this season he's going after Shinatsu. It's set in stone. Like, there we go. Like a very clear objective. But yeah, depending on like when it drops, I might have to definitely dive into the manga. The only problem is I'm like drowning in manga right now, so that's why I'm like,
There's
hopefully
a ton of
sooner than
stuff to
later.
watch too. It's too much to watch too. There's like no date. It's just that it's confirmed and it's in production. So probably a while.
Well, like, speaking of dates of next season, we are confirmed for Solo Levelings. I'm hearing mixed things again. Fucking TikTok. uh I'm hearing possibly next year, but maybe not even for 2 years the next season. So I don't know
I
when
think
exactly it's going to be, but there's mixed ideas of when it's dropping.
it was like a really good episode to kind of bring us down and like,
Hmm.
scale down the whole Jeju Island thing. Um, Japan confirmed fodder. We asked that a couple weeks ago. Turns out it's true. But in all seriousness, like I would feel like Solo Leveling has really taken over as like one of those like worldwide brands. You got games. The
Yeah.
show is
The
huge.
game's awesome. I'm not gonna lie, the game's fucking sick.
Yeah, dude. Like people are playing it, so I would imagine like they're gonna step back and be like, all right, let's get a big budget and really try and do. Again, I don't really know what's coming up, but I would imagine, after Jeju Island, it's only gonna get bigger. So the arcs are gonna be sick. We saw two new baddies at the very end of that episode. So whatever's coming
You
next, I
mean
would
like bad
imagine.
guys, right? Not like hot
Oh
people?
yeah, good catch. Thanks, brother. Yeah.
Bro, okay, listen. I don't know how to react to certain people, bro. My brain is a little messed up. I'm not gonna lie. Dude, someone I was playing League and someone was like, yo, anyone like banging Morgan Wallen? And I'm like I'm straight, but like so no. But like his music's pretty good, and his yeah, the wife and I went to a concert last month. Good music. I'm like, wait, you mean like banging, like jamming out to it? I'm like, I thought you
Yeah.
meant like if I wanted to fuck him. Like, yeah, like my bad, my
They're like,
bad, bro. Like,
took that the wrong
is it
way.
me? Is it was like would you guys think the same thing if I would be like, hey, like you banging Morgan Wallen? You thinking like they're asking if you'd sleep with them? Like, or listen, I could be wrong here.
I'm
Yeah,
with you.
whoops. It could just be my brain, but like that shit I'd be dying. Okay, we gotta get into this though. First of all, the game is fucking sick. So Loving is an awesome game. It's so enjoyable. You really got to check it out. It is free. Okay, but going into like that makes great sense. It makes so much sense. Like they could easily wait 2 years, really like go all out on the animation and get in the same budget and just like absolutely ball out. Because we talked about it 2 episodes ago that the next two arcs are something called the Japan Incident arc and then revisiting the one dungeon, the double
A double
dungeon.
dungeon.
So we're
Yeah,
getting into
true.
like the gods and like the system, whatever the system is. We're getting into all of that. You know what I mean? So that's gonna be insane. Like that's some like we're going vertical. Like this is like going like parabolic. It's going crazy. You know what I mean? So I can really see them, yeah, taking the time to really let it marinate and then come back so hard. You know what I mean? So that does make a lot of sense. The thing we gotta like talk about though is that it's not just the Japan hunters are fodder. It's the power scaling is too gapped. So at the end of the anime, we end up seeing a lot. We see a bunch of new hunters, we see a bunch of new villains, a whole bunch of stuff is setting up for the next season. One of the hunters that we see with the dual swords that just fucking wipes out a swarm. Dude, people were like, yo, like, what is that guy? Like he seems like he's on Jinwoo's level. He seems absolutely insane. We gotta remember that there's S ranks and then there's national hunters, I think they're called, which is a step
Yeah.
above S ranks. That's what Jinwoo is. That's why Jinwoo can just absolutely dummy any of the S ranks, that we've been seeing, like Choi, even Cha, all of them. You know what I mean? So I think we gotta remember just like how like S ranks are still very, very, very strong, but when you compare them to someone like Jin Woo, you know what I mean? They don't compare. Biswick, the All Might, the soul loving All Might, he's a national hunter. That's
Yeah.
America's national hunter. The guy with the double swords, I don't know if he's just a normal S rank or if he is a national hunter. Because if he's a national hunter, that makes sense. Like he just wiped them all out. He seems like he's on Jinwoo's level or like close to it. You know what I mean? That makes perfect sense. But if he's just a normal S rank, then yeah, then the Japan and the Korea S ranks are just fodder. They're garbage. You know what I mean? But that's something we got to keep in mind, that the national hunters are just built different, and anyone's gonna look like fodder next to them.
Nah, that's a good point. Like we really only get to see it in Jeju Island, and then
Mm-hmm.
when Jin Woo's dad takes on, I don't even remember what his name is.
Oh,
The dude
oh,
who's
I think it's like
the older
okay.
brother.
Okay, I fucked it up. I found out from the game that like I think his brother's last name is like Dongsuk or Dongsuk, and it just had me
Ooh,
fucking crying. It's like the
tough
funniest.
look.
It's the funniest fucking thing. I don't think they have the same last name though, so I don't know the Asterix name. But yeah, his brother's name's Dongsuk.
Damn, dude, they really did him dirty. My man gets folded up and a bad name.
Yeah, dude, it's
But
rough.
like, yeah, like you're right. That power scaling gap is huge, and
Yeah.
like it kind of does make the S ranks look like fodder in like that recency bias. Like you've just seen
Yeah.
Jinwoo and Beru ball out, and like
Hmm.
they're kind of like on a different level. So I think with Jinwoo's dad, you're right. The national hunters, like the American guy, will kind of like get to that next stratosphere. I think in whatever production comes next.
And like that's the thing too. Like we gotta remember, Jinwoo wiped out that A rank dungeon, right? He completely just shut on it. And then they asked Choi, like, hey, like well, I think he asked the subordinate. He's like, hey, do you think I could have done that? You know what I mean? And the guy's like, no. You know what I mean? Like solo. So like we gotta remember that these S ranks, even though they're strong, they can't take out an A rank dungeon all on their own. They still aren't capable of doing that. So like the gap between them and S like national hunters is disgusting. Maybe the system of grading is just wrong. But it's like, to be fair, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. If you're an S rank, I feel like you should be able to solo an A rank dungeon. You know what I mean? That kind of just like you're supposed to be like above it. You know what I mean? So maybe the grading's a little bit bad, but like you got to remember just like how much like what limits the S ranks genuinely have. We're too used to seeing Jinwoo. Because to be fair, we see a lot of the S ranks, but we don't see them fight. You know what I mean? We don't see them in combat. We don't see exactly like, what they're capable of or what like necessarily the other hunters are capable of. Because all we've seen for the past 2 seasons in reality is Jinwoo just absolutely saucing up and dangling and destroying and melting and obliterating just about everything he has seen. You know what I mean? So that's where like the scaling is like a bit weird when you think about it.
Yeah, you do make a good point, and like another thing I never really thought of is like he has a whole shadow army. He's spending mana to like make these like or bring them back, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak. You know what I mean? These like shadow warriors. It's not like he's individually fighting every single monster, whereas like the other S ranks do have to individually do it. They don't have like the assistance that Jinwoo has. So like in other words, his abilities are cracked. So it is easy to make that comparison and say, yeah, well Jinwoo's way more capable of like soloing these dungeons.
Yeah, and to be fair, like his fighting capabilities though, even though it's not his strong suit, it seems like is better than every S rank's fighting capabilities, even when that is their strong suit. So like, I think he could. I think he's just is lazy. I don't think he gives a shit. Like we kind of saw that at the Red Gate, and I do want to get a lot into the Red Gate because we have another broken dungeon. At the end of the episode, I find it really funny going back to the Solo Leveling Arise game. He was in that dungeon after the funeral, balling out in a suit. You actually can get different
Yeah.
costumes and outfits for your characters in the game, and I literally have my Jinwoo in a suit. So I'm like, I saw that was mad funny when I saw that scene. I'm like, yo, that's like my guy right there, just
Yeah.
looking fine as fuck as you're just slicing people up. But like, going back to that, the Red Gate, the system, the dungeons have to be manipulated because like he even says again, he's like, oh, another one, and like we keep talking about that, where it's like, how is every dungeon that Jinwoo gets into like cursed? How do they all like become red gates, or like, oh no, this magically became a way tougher gate than we initially thought. You know what I mean? I feel like the gates change. I feel like they can read who comes in and they change to adjust, to meet the prey. You know what I mean? They sit there and like, all right, you have B rank hunters in, we're gonna bring B rank monsters, right? And then they're gonna battle out, and we're gonna like meet your strength. So whenever Jinwoo walks in and they read his shit, they're like, "Oh, we have to meet that strength," and they never do, but they try. And I feel like it's like there's no way that can't be a coincidence that like every fucking dungeon he steps into turns into a red gate.
And like it would make sense because even in his conversation with the ice elf and with I forget what her name is, like the demon girl or the princess or whatever she is.
Esil?
Isol, yeah.
It's wrong
When
by the
he
way. I get
has
yelled at for that all the time. I don't know how to pronounce her name, but it's Esil.
close enough, I'm with you. Like he has the conversations with them and then like the system says like that's enough, you know what I mean? And like it literally tells Jinwoo like that's all the information you're allowed to get for now.
Yeah.
So like there is like this higher power that is very well aware of like what he's going through in the system or game or whatever it is. So like that is like pretty plausible. It's just funny. He's like, oh, why does this always happen to me? It's like, brother, you are the game. Like,
Yeah.
it's not happening to anybody else.
And dude, that's what I'm like really, really excited about for next season. Because like when we revisit the double dungeon arc, like kind of like how he got his powers, is gonna get into that. And like that's what I keep kind of seeing spoilers of. And again, like this changes so much from the manhwa, so that's what's really cool. Is like I kind of get a general gist of what might happen, but I still have no idea because like there's a lot of differences, like a ton. So when it gets into all that, I feel like that's gonna be really, really cool. Like that's gonna be awesome. It seems very, very interesting because I already know kind of who the two new villains were. Because we ended up seeing two new guys, another like ice elf, probably like a
Yeah.
leader type thing, and this other dude. You know what I mean? Like I kind of found out like who they are, and like it's fucking sick. I'm not gonna lie, it's really, really fucking cool. So all I gotta say is that those two guys are gonna be like really sick to see upcoming. And I don't know what happens with his dad, but I feel like his dad's gonna get involved somehow. All I know is that I feel like we're gonna be getting into like the main kind of villains, or like that's what it feels like. You know what I mean? Like seeing those two guys, it seems like, oh, it's about to get serious because like Jeju Island's been built up since season one. You know what I mean? But there's been no
Right.
like main villain from Jeju Island. We got there last second. So I feel like now we're gonna start to build up to more end game type shit, which is gonna be like really cool.
I'm with you. I think that's kind of how the story feels like it's heading, especially if you're going back to the double dungeon. That's like a really good culmination of like Jinwoo's hit at level 100. He's got all these like really impressive like shadow warriors under his command,
Mm-hmm.
Beru, Igris, like all these really sick like warriors. It'll be really interesting to see kind of like the lore and like the situation as he conquers this double dungeon again and like just kind of where we're going from there. But it does feel like you're getting into like the meat of the story and like the main villains and stuff. I'm with you.
Dude, it's gonna be awesome. I really can't wait. It seems like it's gonna be absolutely exceptional, and I want to talk about this one scene. It was so good. This is what I was really excited for and really hyped up on. Is the healing scene where he brings that one healer back. He heals Cha, and then he like releases him and lets him go. That's sick. Like that was awesome. I feel like the way that like brings it back, is able to save Cha, but then he's able to like let him go and like have peace. You know what I mean? Is it was really awesome. I feel like that was a really cool scene.
It was really well done. You're exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
And like the fact that he goes over to heal her without being ordered by Jinwoo
Yeah.
was like kind of cool. And like Jinwoo makes a comment about that, but then he was also like I wouldn't want to make him relive the trauma of being in battle and like seeing Beru again. So like he lets him go. Very, very cool. I thought that was really well done.
Well, you know what's funny? What I kind of found out from the manhwa. First of all, I'm not going to spoil it, but apparently Jinwoo hates somebody and brings him into his shadow army, but doesn't have him fight. He just wants to like torture him. Like
Oh
apparently,
wow.
Jinwoo has like an enemy where like he makes him a shadow, but like he just doesn't use them. He's like, "You're fodder. I don't give a fuck about you. I'm just doing this so you like can't move on." Pretty much. He's like, "Fuck you." He does the opposite, which is really really funny. But one of the main differences between the anime and the manhwa is that apparently when he tried to bring back that healer, he actually couldn't. He it took him like 2 or 3 tries because the healer didn't want to see combat again. He didn't want to be brought back and have to fight and be in the army, which is also why he like let him go afterwards. So like that's one key difference that we didn't see in the anime is that he came back immediately, instantly healed. It seemed like he was more like okay with it. You know what I mean? But like I feel like that kind of makes more sense in the manhwa. You know what I mean? Because then it's like, all right, yeah, I get you don't want to be here, man. I'll let you go. Like, don't worry. Thank you so much. You know what I mean? But here, it's like I don't know. It's like a different like perspective of it.
Yeah, I kind of like the manhwa adaptation a little bit better,
Yeah,
but like it all kind of plays into the same explanation and theme, and even in the anime, like he smiles to the President Beck or whatever his name is, like his friend. He smiles and like at the end of the day, it's all good. You know what I mean?
yeah.
He comes back, he heals her, and then he's let go. Like he's more willing, I guess, in the anime, but still, both I think effectively tell the same thing. But it would be cool to kind of see the resistance to Jinwoo.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that would have been pretty sick. Like I said, there is like I actually like might have to go back and like read the manhwa because like there is like a bunch of differences and the scenes are pretty fucking insane. I'm not gonna lie. Like his ghost form, the heals go like a shadow form, does look sicker in the manhwa. Like there's just way more detail and it looks crispy. It's like oh, that's sick. But absolutely phenomenal second season for Solo Leveling. Like just 10 out of
10 out of
10.
10.
10 out of 10. Yeah, absolutely. It's got to, dude. It's got competition, but like, it's got to be easily the front runner for anime of the year.
I absolutely agree. It's going to be really tough to beat. I really liked how consistent it was. I mean, from
Mm-hmm.
episode 1 to like the very end, you had a lot of story, a lot of action. Everything was really well animated for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And like again, I don't have the manhwa like perspective of it, but I really enjoyed it. I think it was a perfect season and yeah, can't wait for what's next, but I'm definitely with you. I think it'll clean house at the awards.
I mean, I'm really looking forward to the future of it. It seems like it's going to get like really, really cool and fascinating lore wise, which is why I'm like hyped up. It seems like we might actually get some difficult fights because let's be honest, the Baru fight like wasn't hard for him at all. Like it was so easy,
Yeah.
and in fact, they actually extended it in the anime. In the manhwa, it was way shorter. Like it wasn't even close. Like they made him look way stronger, Baru, in the anime. Like apparently in the manhwa, it was just like just not even like he just flicked. Oh my god, he exploded. That's crazy. You know what I mean? Type of shit. So I cannot wait to actually see some fights that actually challenge him. And to be fair, I don't even know if that even happens. I'm just hoping. You know what I mean? I'm just hoping we see this guy, struggle a little bit at this point because like it's crazy how he's just like wiping insane bosses out.
Yeah, I think we'll get some of that with like this next arc and like maybe, the big statue that like gave Jinwoo his powers and put him on this journey.
Hmm.
I think we'll get some of that. So, and there's two the two villains we met at the very end of the episode. I think all that stuff is going to come to a head and we'll finally see Jinwoo get tested more, but also like get more into the story of like what the system really is. So, super excited for that and it's going to be badass.
Yeah, I cannot wait. This has been awesome. The winter season was great, but now we have the spring season, and I'm excited for it. Starting off with a little drama, but boys, we still got Fire Force. We still have Goku Loser Ranger. We still have Windbreaker. We still have a ton to look forward to. Lazarus, Devil May Cry. There's a lot. There's a lot to be excited about. Maybe not as much as other seasons, but that's okay because this is also a great time to catch up on other stuff you missed. I know for sure me and a lot of other people have a watch list full of just goated anime waiting to be binged. So I'm so looking forward to that. But anyways, guys, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week and peace.